right, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are dropping in. Today, I just wanted to talk about how we can strengthen our wrist. So throughout a yoga practice, we're often on our hands, right? Whether that be in a tabletop, downward facing dog, or whether we're putting more weight on it through arm balances and things like that. So if we are going to move into a practice where we're going to be using our wrists and hands a lot, which is almost any practice, we really want to warm up our wrist, which doesn't always happen in a class. So I wanted to give you some tools and practices that you can use on and off your mat to strengthen your wrist. A lot of us do have a lot of weak wrists from being on our phones, right? Typing, driving even. So we want to start to strengthen our wrists. So the first thing I like to do to strengthen my wrists is to flick my fingers. Like you're flicking water off your hands, right? And sometimes when I do this in class, I'll start here. And if you flick, I know it seems simple, but your wrist, it's gonna start to get a little bit harder. Flick a little bit faster. Yeah, whew, I'm already starting to feel it. Sometimes I even start to reach my arms up and over. Flick, right? So you can probably already start to feel that doing its magic, working its power, strengthening the wrist. And remember to breathe. All right, beautiful. So that's one option. Some of my students, I've given this practice to just do that for about 3 minutes every day, and it's crazy how much stronger they come into practice feeling. Other options is going to be coming through a tabletop. So from here, you can turn your fingertips outward so that the wrists face in and just shift your weight right and left sides. If that doesn't feel like it's giving you all that you want or need, you can turn your fingertips to face all the way in so your wrists face the top of your mat. And then invite little circles, right and left sides. Maybe shift the hips back so the front of the wrist softly and gently peel off the mat. Now there is a lot of sensationing happening here right now. So again, really using your breath to breathe into it. As you're ready, you can kind of start to unwind, come back through center. And then we're gonna flip our wrist in and up. So fingertips come in, wrist goes out, palm faces up. And a lot of people like to do this one at a time. If you have a little bit stronger wrist, maybe you're able to do both at a time. See if you can straighten your arms out a little bit more. Again, small circles, right and left. And if you're just doing one at a time, start to flip to your opposite wrist. Breathe. Slowly start to release, unwind, untuck the toes, sit back to your heels, and just kind of shake the hands out. Last thing that's really important for your practice, if you are going to be on the palms, whether you're in tabletop or downward facing dog, there is an energetic lock called Hasta Bandha, which we find in our fingertips, our thumb and our pointer finger. So a lot of people, when they're in a tabletop or wherever on the hands are flimsy, right? You're able to pick the fingers up, a lot of the weight's back in the wrist. That's gonna actually not be so great for your practice or for your wrist. We really wanna press down through the fingertips. So if I come over, imagine I'm in the room with you, I can't pick up your fingertips. Your fingertips are anchored down to your mat, engaging through Hasta Bandha. That's gonna help protect your wrist and take some of the weight out of the wrist and into the hands, a little bit more active, so that when we lift up into our downward facing dog, that engagement's still there, pressing down, right? So you have that support throughout your practice. So those are some of my favorite ways to warm up your hands, wrists, and strengthen. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I hope that this helps for your practice.